Hey, welcome everybody. This is Green Fire Alex here with another unboxing video. Today we're going to do a $50 mystery box unboxing with a couple extras from airplanthub.com. That is airplanthub.com. It's out of California. Nice family-owned place there. Nathan does a great job there running and owning it. Um, any of your needs, go on their website, find anything you need. I have everything that's going to be in the box up on the page here for you, just in case you want to jot it down beforehand, look it up, anything. Double check uh, what you're looking at on the screen here at any time for you. No problems there. As always, they do a great job packaging this box up. It comes with a weather guarantee on this guy when you ship it in the wintertime. You pay a little bit of extra for that, but it's a great price. He has a heating pack in it and extra insulation like newspaper, stuff like that, bubble wrap. And this is going to be from their Thanksgiving Black Friday sale. So I did receive a free plant in this, which is going to be pretty awesome to see. Now, I do keep the receipts in a nice journal here because they are sticky. So I just have a whole bunch of them already in there, and I'm just going to go ahead and place mine in. So getting in here, I like to flatten this guy out, give you a nice white base to see all of them on when I lay them out here for you. So first off, we're going to be pulling out the free plant. This is going to be the Coconesis Purple. This is a rare form of it, and it originally comes from the Cocos Islands, and is commonly known as the Cocos Island air plant for that reason. This is an uninhabited island located in the eastern tropical Pacific Ocean, which is pretty cool to think about. Look at those lovely purple tips there. Now that comes in high light, so the higher the light, the more purple that you're going to have, which is really cool. And let me tell you, in person, it is very purple. Here's a nice picture from his website. He always has nice shelves in the background too. All right, next up we have the Argentina miniature. Now, this is going to actually be from Bolivia, not Argentina, but it is located in Argentina as well. But this is the Bolivian strain, which is very nice. It does like to grow on rocky cliffs in elevations between 450 and 1300 meters. You can see that there is a very prodigious bloomstalk and flower on the next picture that you'll see. And then after that will be the one on the rocky outcropping, which is pretty cool to see as well. I'm sorry, not rocky outcrop on a tree, but still pretty awesome to see them just clinging to life there with all those flowers. And next up, we have the Ionantha van Heidingi, which is going to be a very nice species. It was part of the Ionantha family um, up until recently, and now it's just van Heidingi, as far as I've researched. So here's a beautiful blooming specimen from Airplant Hub, and then the rocky outcrop that I misinterpreted last time. Very nice to see them just clinging there. So cool to watch the roots do their thing as well as the leaves. Next up is the Gardeny. This is a very unique cultivar of it, and it's very thin and wispy. It's something that they witnessed growing in the wild and brought it back with them, which is pretty cool. Nice silver purple shade there. And one growing on a tree, and it's in full bloom. All right, next up is going to be the Sweet Isabel. Now, this guy is a hybrid that forms with the best traits of both the Tactorum and Palicia. It is hung upside down. We'll give it a curve because it is orthotropic, which means it grows towards the light. I believe that's the wall from uh, Paul Isley's place. And then you can see a nice picture of the bloom here. All right, next up I have the bulbosa. This is going to be a nice classic bulbous base with just tendrils that are just going to go everywhere, which is pretty awesome to see. Um, and this guy glows just pretty much everywhere in the northern and eastern South Americas, and it is a pretty nice specimen to see anytime that you have. They have these little red edges or maroon edges that are very lovely to see as well. Um, you can see here's one on a tree in beginning its bloom cycle, and another one here doing the same thing on a tree branch. I love how they just clump to everything. All right, next up is going to be another cross here. This is the Crocata V Tristis. It has an amazing fragrance when in bloom. They also produce yellow flowers, which is really, really, really nice to see. And they are very small plants and they don't grow more than a few inches, but they do tend to clump really well, which is cool to see, especially when they're in that lovely yellow blooming phase. Here's a nice picture from Air Plant Hub of the specimens in bloom. You can see those little tiny flower spots of yellow there, which is really pretty. And here he is holding just a single little tiny guy that is in bloom. All right, next up is going to be the Catpot Medusae superior, which is going to be um, translates to head of snakes. Now, the superior is going to be a cultivar from Paul Isley, who noticed in 2017 that the base was thicker and it had more wispier tendrils than the standard variety, which is really cool. I do have some of the standard variety, and let me tell you, this is very wispy compared to the regular kind. And here's a picture from his website as well. All right. So next up here, we have the Tricholepis bolivia. This guy is going to be a miniature species, and it basically looks like a little piece of juniper bush just pulled right off, but it's not. It doesn't have the smell of a pine or anything like that. It doesn't even feel like pine. It just strictly looks like it. Now, these guys do self pollinate, so you'll be insured a nice seed source. They do have like a closed flower, so they pollinate themselves, which is really fascinating to um, think about. So, the stems are really nice. They grow in a nice long stem. And this variety happens to be Argentina, even though it is the Tricholepis bolivia. So there's a nice little picture there. And then here's one of it out in the wild in bloom as well. All right, next up, I have the Ionantha Sunset Orange. Now, these guys are going to be just a nice variation of the regular Ionanthas that have a sunset orange blush instead of the traditional red. Now, they do tend to use a plant safe dye to enhance them when they're not in bloom. That's the same thing with the pink ones. But they do actually bloom that sunset orange color as well. You can here see a nice one here. All right, next up is going to be the snake air plant. This is going to be the closed form. There's an open and a closed form. Now, the closed form has softer leaves than the open form does, and the unique shape makes them a great addition for any collection. And they are endemic to Brazil. Now, I do have a nice long specimen of this. It's about 1.5 feet long, but I wanted a smaller one as well for a different project. As you can see here, Nathan has some in his greenhouse that are just truly long. And here's some just growing off a cliff again. These pictures are from Naturist. I'm sorry, iNaturist. All right. Next up, we have the Inantha Sumo White. Now, this guy is going to be named by Paul Isley back in May of 2010. Um, they found this labeled as Druid with unknown origin, and it was clearly different than the other Druids. So they decided to bring it back, and it ended up growing 2 to 3 times larger than the regular Druid. It's similar to the Inantha variety Maxima, but it does have a nice pseudo ball base almost because it's so thick. Uh, it's very nice, and it is a lighter green than a lot of the Ionanthas are, and then it does this nice pale yellow blush when it goes to bloom. So it's really nice. And then next up, I have the Ionantha Max Albino. Now it's going to be so similar to the Sumo Whites and Druids. It's hard to find a picture, so there won't be a picture of this guy. Just picture the last one, and that's basically what it looks like with very subtle differences, gene markers and stuff like that. But it does come from the Maxima line turned albina, not the Druid lined turned Maxima. So it's a little bit different there. You can see the leaves are going to be thicker, more succulent esque. And that's a big difference from the Druid, which seem to be almost regular except for their tendency to flower white. All right, so next up, I do have an Ionantha Grace, small cluster coming out here. Now, these guys have this beautiful sunset red and orange color when it goes to blush. Now, I do have a clump of these already that went into blush and bloom, and it was spectacular. Let me tell you, when it does say sunset colors, it does say sunset colors in real life. It is just amazing. It's just like somebody lit a fire underneath of it when it went into bloom. It was amazing. Here's a giant clump just starting into its blush from Air Plant Hub. Next up, we have the Roscoe Scarpa. Forgive me if I don't pronounce any of these right. And this is the quirly form. It's very symmetrical compared to the regular. It's highly attractive to cultivars. It's known for its dramatic recurving and large leaves. It's native to Mexico and grows um, all over with its symmetrical shape and nature. All right, next up, I have the Policia Fuzzy White. Now, this guy is very fuzzy. When you're holding it, it just feels like a lamb's ear almost, which is really cute. These guys clump very readily and have beautiful flowers that almost are triangle in shape. Native to coastal desert habitats in Peru and Bolivia, which is really nice. Next up is the Purpura, um, and I will not try pronouncing the rest of that. It's a very nice stiff form here. Um, just decided to check one of those guys out. Look at that. Isn't that smart? All right, next up we have the classic Streptophila. Now, this is going to be considered the queen of air plants or Shirley Temple air plant. Now, I do have the larger version, which is the Select Blaze Streptophilia. So these guys are going to be a little bit smaller than those, but still with the way that the leaves curl down and everything, it's amazing. I do not have the regular one yet, so this is going to be a nice collection addition here. You can see in the photo coming up that it does have a beautiful bloom stalk that just rockets out of the middle of this guy, turns red, and has a beautiful multi-pronged flowering system there that just looks amazing. And look at it just gripping that tree like nobody's business. All right, next up, I have the Stricta Strift Gray. Now, I love Strictas. Strictas was my first plant ever, and I just fell in love with those guys after that. And I do have a number of these guys. The stiff gray is going to be rather gray compared to the original guy that's going to be more green. But that's the whole purpose of it, to have variations. I also have one that is a maroon one and a couple others as well. Here's a nice picture of it. Very nice, big. I love how symmetrical this guy looks. All right. So next up, we're going to have this Capitata mauve. It's one of the few air plant species that holds up um, in in its year-round purple color, especially when you dip it in water, which is really cool. Like when I say you dip it in water and it has nice purple sheen, I really mean it. Now I do have a larger specimen as well. That is just a single specimen, and it definitely, the older it gets, definitely has more of the mauve color in there. There's a nice big specimen there. Next up, we have the Ionantha pink. This is going to be just the regular Ionantha pink with that nice pink tips. Now that is going to be chemically enhanced throughout the year, but when it does bloom, the blush is a nice pink color, which is really nice to see in real life. They just upsell it with that coloration for effect, so you can really see it beforehand. Next up is a very stiff species. I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but it is very stiff, and I can see why some of these guys need to be stiff, being up in trees, wind, stuff like that. Um, but this is a very nice large species. You can see how large it got in there in that last picture. So next up, we have the Hericii. It is a popular species known for its soft silver gray leaves. And it's a very straightforward care. Now, this is a small clump of seedlings, which is really nice. It's native to Guatemala, and it's very hardy. And it has nice symmetrical rosettes when it grows larger there. So you can see the nice wavy tendrils. I love that. And look at those bloom stalks. Isn't that amazing? All right, next up we have the X Betty. This is one of my favorite crosses. It is going to be the Xerographica brachycarlos cross, and it's just huge, majestic, smooth, recurving structure. I mean, look how big this guy is, and that's one that they have out at Air Plant Hub, and there's one in full bloom as well. Next up is going to be the Rodeo Simpra, Sinfala. However, that is pronounced. I've never been good at pronouncing things. But this is a nice species native to Mexico and is known for its terrestrial growth habit and its distinct striking inflorescence. It has a nice a flower cluster on it. It's pretty nice to see. Next up here, I didn't manage to get an extra picture of this guy, but you can see how beautiful it is anyways. Uh, Next up, I have another crossed. This is going to be the Butsy uh, prunosa. This is a hybrid that has a stunning visual display that looks like the regular Butsy with um, its best qualities highlighted. There's more tendrils, and it has a larger growth pattern. Now, next up, we have the variegated Sandy's Candy. Now, this is going to be the last guy here. And it has like a paddle um, for its bloom stock, which is amazing. And uh, just visually stunning with that pink just bursting out everywhere. And that's basically everything. I do like to show you that there is a nice heating pack in the bottom of that guy. Don't forget to do your research on how to take care of them. I'm going to soak these guys shortly after I get them labeled. I do use a label that is going to be aluminum. I have some right here. They are very nice. They take an indent from your pen, and then I just wipe the ink off of it, and then it leaves the indent behind. So you're not going to have anything erased with watering and stuff like that. And then putting this aluminum into the water is not going to affect the plant at all, because it is anodized, which is really nice to see. So I have Paul Isley's Talancia 2 there in the background. It is a nice reference for anybody who's getting started. You can go online, find that in several bookstores. It is going to have a very nice thick plastic cover. And once again, I just wish everybody happy planting and have a good start to your new year. And I wish everybody the best. And once again, this stuff is from airplanthub.com. It's going to be the best source that I have found so far for plants inside the country if you want it to be family run, family operated, and just a good, wholesome place. Thank you so much and have a great day.